The U.S. Coast Guard rescued 12 people from the cargo ship Bonnie G., which ran aground and was taking on water off the Virgin Islands south of the U.S. St. Thomas Airport as Tropical Storm Philip moved through the region on October 4. Winds on St. Thomas reached 35 miles per hour, and visibility was difficult due to rain, fog, and sea spray, according to digital meteorologist Jonathan Bells. In exposed waters around the Virgin Islands, waves could reach 6 feet. According to a press release, the Coast Guard responded to the ship's distress call around 3:41 a.m. on October 4, which reported that the ship was taking on water in the engine room and that people on board were abandoning the ship in 2 life rafts and a lifeboat. Coast Guard lookouts in Sector San Juan issued an urgent maritime information broadcast to alert vessel traffic in the area of the ongoing disaster and notified crew members of the St. Thomas Boat Force Detachment, which launched a 33-foot Coast Guard Special Operations vessel to provide rescue assistance. Once on the scene, the Coast Guard cutter crew loaded all 12 survivors and transported them to the Crown Bay Marina. The vessel's grounding was very dangerous, and I thank our lookouts and the crew of the responding vessel for their efforts to assist the occupants of the Bonnie G and bring them to safe harbor, said Captain Jose E. Diaz, the vessel's commanding officer. Coast Guard Sector San Juan said, "We still have a lot of work to do to investigate and understand the causal factors of this incident. One of our top priorities is to assess the contamination threat from this vessel and ensure appropriate risk management and removal of potentially hazardous chemicals as quickly and safely as possible to preserve and protect the pristine waters of the U.S. Virgin Islands." The Coast Guard's Marine Safety Detachment and response personnel in the U.S. Virgin Islands are working with the ship's Bonnie G to assess the current pollution threat. The Bonnie G was reported to be carrying approximately 13,000 gallons of fuel and approximately 250 gallons of lubricating oil, and the vessel was also carrying 6 vehicles, a truck, a trailer, and 2 pallets of cargo. The Coast Guard also notified the National Response Center and local authorities in the U.S. Virgin Islands. One of the U.S. Coast Guard's top priorities is to assess any potential environmental threat posed by the 195-foot Bonnie G, including hazardous chemicals or other pollutants. Bonnie G is an offshore supply vessel built in 1981 and flying the Vanuatu flag. It has a lifting capacity of 120 tons and a current draft of 3.3 meters. The total length is 57 meters and the width is 12.